Okay, we're going to do another example of a basic nonlinear equation. This time we're going to look at the equation 3 times the square root of 5x plus 1 equals 6. So this time our nonlinear term is this square root term. So this whole thing here is our nonlinear term. And just like before, our first step is going to be to solve for that nonlinear term. In this case, that means all we have to do is divide both sides by 3. And so we'll get the square root of 5x plus 1 equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Once we have that term by itself, again, we can undo the nonlinear term. In this case, since we have a square root as our nonlinear operation, we are going to square both sides. So in the first example, we wanted to undo x squared, or the squaring operation, and so we took a square root. In this case, we want to undo the square root operation, and so we square both sides. And what we're left with is just whatever was on the inside of the square root on the left-hand side, so 5x plus 1 equals 2 squared, which is 4. And now we are left with a linear equation that we can solve for x. So we'll subtract 1 from both sides, so we'll get 5x equals 3, and then divide both sides by 5. And so we get x equals 3/5. We do have to be a little bit careful with some of these undoing operations. It is possible that we get solutions that aren't actually correct solutions. So it's a good idea to plug them back in and just make sure. If we were to plug the solution 3/5 back into our original equation, that would say that 3 times the square root of 5 times 3/5 plus 1, and we want to know, does that equal 6? And now we can kind of just work our way through and solve this out. So that would say 3 times the square root of 5 times 3/5. The 5's can cancel, and we're just left with 3 plus 1. Again, we want to know, does that equal 6? This says 3 times the square root of 4. Does that equal 6? And that's 3 times 2, which does in fact equal 6. So a good idea to check your work. You don't always have to do it, but it doesn't take too long, and so it is worth doing. Not only will you discover if the work you've done has led to an answer that's not exactly correct, but you might discover that you've made a mistake in some of the work you've done as well. So always a good idea to check.